Hey folks. Um, so today what's coming through, and I'm looking as I start this post, I'm looking outside and there's crazy wind blowing by our sunroom. The winds of change, which is totally appropriate for where I am today, because I've kind of been reflecting on the fact that we're about to move. And I was just talking to Katie, and we were talking about, is Annalise aware that we're about to move? That we're leaving this house that's like the entire cosmos she knows, and we're moving to a new house. It's 45 minutes down the road. She's going to be closer to her grandparents, who she sees all the time, and she'll still see her other grandparents who are up here in Santa Fe. And there are definitely more extreme moves we could make that would be more disorienting in terms of changing the context on her. But where she sleeps, where home is, that's all going to change. And something's kind of coming through for me about, I did a session with Larry, my friend Larry, who's this amazing kind of financial shaman that I met through Kyle and that Katie and I have been working with. And we did a session a month or two ago, and where we kind of talked about moving, and we talked about the feeling of moving. And like, what came up for me was just some pretty big emotional patterns around what it means to move. I remember very vividly when we first moved to Germany when I was 4 years old. I remember that being a big deal. And I remember kind of like pining for the yellow house. It's only 4 more years till we move back to the yellow house, I would say. Our yellow house was in Greenwich, Connecticut. And, I think that lasted maybe a couple months, and then we were acclimated to Germany and speaking German and with German friends. And it happened fast, obviously. Bliss was 2.5, I was 4, almost 5. And, but I do remember the emotional impact of that, and then I definitely remember the emotional impact of moving back to the States at age 14, right before my freshman year of high school. That was a huge move. And so as I was working with Larry, there was all this stuff coming through about what it means to move. And it was creating in some ways it was creating some resistance to the current move, to the current situation. And that was kind of what we processed. And I think it was very helpful to do that and freed me up in a way. But I also am just clocking, there's a big thing happening for Annalise. There's a big thing about to happen for her. I mean, for myself and Katie too, but especially for her. I'm thinking about it and kind of just realizing, if there's any way to frame the experience and to hold the experience in such a way as to encourage, make it feel like transition and diving into the unknown and relocating our center of gravity. And if there's a way to hold that experience in a very positive light, in a kind of like nurturing, so that there's a sense of like she feels held by it, as opposed to feels upended by it. That's something that's just coming through for me as a priority right now in the last couple weeks. This is the last couple weeks that we're gonna live in this house. This is the house, we bought this house a couple days before I proposed to Katie, and this is the house where we wrote a lot of our music. This is the house where both of our career lives evolved in a massive way. This is the house where we got pregnant with Annalise, and Annalise was born, and there's, like, so much of our life has happened in this house, and we're leaving that behind in a way. You know, we're moving to the next phase, and it feels so appropriate. If I look at the transition that Katie's going through with her new job, and the transition that I'm going through with my business, where that all feels like it is and where it's headed, and just the possibilities of it, and it all feels so right and so appropriate. And at the same time, there's a sadness. There just is. There's like this emotional sadness about, here we go, we're going to leave this place where so many memories and so many steps were taken. You know, it was also our home base as we went to Europe and Ghana, you know, a couple times. We took big trips, and Houston and all over the country. And there was we've just had this place as our center of gravity for a long time. And feeling that shift is kind of a thing. We're going to be signing on Monday for our new house. We're keeping this house. It's not going anywhere. We're going to rent it, but it won't be where we live anymore. And yeah, that's a big deal. So I think, you know, in the way that I myself, maybe the key, you know, I think this is coming to me right now, but I think maybe part of the key to Annalise having an experience of transition that is one of exciting possibility and kind of trusting the unknown, maybe one of the keys to that is also giving that to myself, also allowing myself to be held by myself, and by, you know, asking for whatever I need in terms of just the energy that kind of nurtures, and that consoles, and that allows me to grieve the loss of a beautiful place that has been so much of our life. It's going to be memory in our life very soon. Allowing for myself to have that space, and that, you know, that just that feeling. I think I'm feeling soft. I feel like I'm becoming a child again in a way, emotionally. I feel like I'm being brought back to my childhood emotions, and I'm being given a chance in a way to hold all of them in a way that just sparks joy and enthusiasm and play and excitement around the experience of transition and newness. And I'm just clocking that that's important for me and for my daughter, and obviously for Katie. So that's kind of where I am today. Yeah, this wind is definitely a sign. It's blowing like crazy. But thanks for watching. I appreciate the people in my life. I've always felt like the people in my life were the roots that grow everywhere on the earth. And I'm always, you know, I've defined home as being my community rather than my geographical location for a long time. And that remains true even as, you know, you do kind of become located somewhere, and then now we're relocating. So I appreciate you very deeply. Thank you for being in my life. And thanks for watching these videos. Love you. See you soon.